In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a simple sketch of your space and how to dimension it so that when you pass it off to me, I can take your information and input it into CAD and get started on your new design. So today we're going to take my kitchen that I've got at my condo. And we'll use that as a base point because it has a majority of the things that you're going to need to measure. So to start off, we are going to simply just sketch our space. I always like to start with simple shapes. You know, my kitchen is a square. And then what we're gonna do is I have kind of an odd little nook in my space, so I'm gonna just go ahead and draw that right here. It's just a little bit of an extra niche built in for my refrigerator, so we can kind of just make note, oops, I made a mistake there. You know, we fully expect that. We don't need fully perfect pictures here, but what we do need is just really clear information. So we're just gonna finish this space off here. So we're gonna finish our wall, make a little line to show the beginning of a doorway. In this case, it's just a clear opening. And then here's the opposite end of that. And then we have kind of an interesting thing here. So I'm gonna stop right about here and draw another line. I have a pass-through in my kitchen. So it's just really, it's literally a hole in the wall, a finished hole in the wall that opens through to my kitchen. And so to notate that, to make it clear that it's not a full opening like this, I'm just gonna continue that line. But the little tick mark that I have here and here really just shows that there is something different about that. So even if it's not clear and you forget to make note of it, I'm gonna see something like that and be able to make a change. So next what we're gonna do is go ahead and draw our cabinetry. I like to keep this simple. It does not need to be perfect. And then I am going to stop here because I have an interesting little angled sink in my kitchen. So then I'm going to kind of eyeball this, kind of draw it at a nice little angle there, and then continue it over like that. And so we now have our cabinetry layout. So next I'm going to go ahead and add in our appliances. So again, these don't have to be perfectly to size. And I like to just make note, REF for refrigerator. And then we'll have no other appliances on this line. I have my stove, which is centered in this section here. And just draw the circles. And then no other appliances. And then I've got a small cabinet here, and then I've got my dishwasher. DW for dishwasher. And then like I mentioned before, I have an angled sink. So I'm just gonna sketch that in just like that. And now you have all of your cabinetry drawn in. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is add in your upper cabinetry. So, you know, if you have any wall cabinets at all, so we're gonna mark that in. One way to notate that this is different is you can do it in another color. You can also keep it in the same color as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it in a different color for clarity's sake here. I'm gonna go ahead and use orange. So my upper cabinetry is like this. And then I have, again, another angled cabinet, and then it kind of goes over. I do have a little bit of cabinetry above my vent hood here, so I am going to still continue this line. And then I'm just going to continue it over, and it's just going to die into that wall. I have no upper cabinetry here. I do have a floating shelf, but for this purpose, we don't need to add that to our drawing. So next up, we're going to start dimensioning. So one of the things that I like to take into consideration is, you know, how is this drawing going to look overall? So when you want to start with your overall, you don't want to write that number super close to the wall, because the closer numbers to the wall is going to be your detail numbers. So to start, we'll do our overall of this back wall here. So I'll draw 2 lines from corner to corner up decently high, and then just draw a straight line across with little tick marks. These little angled tick marks are going to notate where the measurement ends. So every time you see a tick mark, a new measurement will start. So in this case with the overall, you're just going to have the first and the second one. And so for the sake of this, we're going to be using arbitrary numbers. So we're going to use 10 feet for this, or 120 inches. So when you're taking measurements, it's also really good to know that you can pick one or the other, inches or feet and inches, or mix and match. It's perfectly fine as long as you have all the measurements you need. We are happy to make those changes as needed. And then we'll go ahead and do our overall here. We're gonna be 12 feet. And then our overall on the bottom, which is just slightly bigger because of this little bump out here. So we are looking at 10 feet 4 inches on this side. And then this side is going to be the same 12 feet. So we don't need to do an extra large one on this side, which is especially good in this instance because it'll give us a little more room to play with our detail spots here. So now that we have our overalls, we can start going into some of our detail measurements. So let's start with some door openings. I'm just going to scooch this back up for you so you can see the door openings. And we're going to go ahead and draw that up. So it's just going to be clean line up to these, and then it's just going to be a straight line all the way across. And again, tick marks to notate where we're having new dimensions. So now what we're going to do is we have a 40-inch wide opening here, and keep in mind again that that wall goes back that extra 4 inches right here. And then we've got an opening here of 32 inches, and then we've got 8 inches, and then the opening here is 44 inches. And then now, just as a quick note, we're going to go ahead and do this right here to show the interior of the door all the way to this back wall, which is 52 inches. And this is just going to kind of help keep that overall space here. Now we can move on to our refrigerator wall. So our refrigerator wall here is 36 inches. Or 3 feet. So that's going to make this rest of this line right here at 9 feet even. So that keeps it really clean for us. And then what we're going to go ahead and do on this side, so our sink is a little bit unique. Because it's at an angle, finding exactly where it lives is going to be a little bit tricky. So in our next drawing, when we talk about our center lines, I'm going to go ahead and go into more detail on that. But for now, its placement isn't actually all that necessary for our overall dimensions here. So we know that we're at 12 feet on this wall here. But what we want to do is go ahead and just make note where we are with these pieces here. So dishwashers are a standard 2 feet, almost always. You might have, you know, a half an inch of wiggle room with your opening, but realistically you're looking at a 2-foot space there. So we are now having a 10-foot space to work with. In this case, makes our life really easy for this planning purposes. And now we've got 5 feet and 5 feet. Very simple, very clean. On this side, we have the same thing. So we've got, there we go. Okay, so now we have our new drawing here. So we are looking at our 10-foot opening. And so we are looking at a 30-inch range. And then we are looking at 45 inches and 45 inches. Keeps it really clean and simple. And now we have all of our overall dimensions. The nice thing is about cabinetry is unless you have something that was highly custom, which all that's going to do is take a quick triple check, you're looking at doing a simple double check of your measurement. All countertops are going to be somewhere between 24.5 and 25.5 inches from the edge of the countertop to the back of the wall. You know, your actual base cabinet is 24 inches, and then your countertop overhangs a little bit, but that varies depending depending on the kitchen. So if you do a double check and make sure that that's your countertop depth, you don't need to do any other measurements. Same thing with your upper cabinets. Obviously, if you have an interesting, unique corner cabinet, you can make note of that. But for the most part, with a remodel, we're going to be changing the layout anyway. So those little details don't matter quite as much. And if you need any assistance with those, you can just let us know and we are happy to help make that happen. So that concludes our overall dimensioning plan. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick zoom out so you can see a full picture, and there'll be a picture included in with the PDF as well.